Ladies and gentlemen, happy Friday, TGIF. Welcome to Pickup Lines, by the way. Presented by Gamez Law. Oh, wait a minute. Gamez Law Fights. Do not adjust your clocks. I know I said we were coming on at 10 o'clock today, but I came on a couple of minutes early because I need your help. I have tried to upgrade the audio setup here on Pickup Lines, and so I recently acquired brand new microphones, wireless lav microphones, and I have one for myself and one for our guest. So my first order of business is to ask you if you can hear me. Can you guys hear me okay? Hi, Leonard Johnson. Just give me a heads up, like a yes or no, because I cannot hear the audio on this broadcast. I can see your comments and I can see everything, but I can't hear anything until after the show is over. So if anybody, Leonard, anybody there, can you just give me like a yes? Francisco, you can hear me well? Okay. I love it. I love it. The thumbs up. All right, and I have a second mic for our guest who's going to join us here in just a minute, so hopefully you can hear him as well. So if at any point during the broadcast the audio goes south or something, just let me know, and I've got the backup mic here. But anyway, okay, so excited. I was laughing before I came on the air because the story today, this is a classic example of why I love this show so much, because I'm going to talk to a gentleman. To be honest with you, I met him for the first time about 10 minutes ago. We've talked before, but I had never met him until about 10 minutes ago. And he told me a couple of fascinating things that I did not know. And I don't know the stories yet, but we're going to find out together. One of them is he has a connection to Snoop Dogg. Yes, that's Snoop Dogg. And he has a connection to Selena, like the legendary late, great Tejano queen. I don't know what the stories are. I just know that those are like the headlines. So we're going to find out together what happened there. But let me first acknowledge our sponsors here. We mentioned Gamez Law Fights. And then, of course, our regular sponsors who've been with me for a while now. Mia's Mexican Grill there in Helotes at 1604 in Bandera. Friday, I'm trying to remember. I want to say, I hope I don't get it wrong. Is it Gorditas is the lunch special today? Don't quote me on that, but enjoy it nonetheless. And the margaritas and everything are fine. So maybe you deserve a margarita today. Happy hour later today. Mia's Mexican Grill. And then Rudy's Flooring and Remodeling. We've been posting some like before and after pictures of jobs that he's done. And he's done flooring in my house twice. So I will vouch for Rudy Esquivel and his crew and service after, the installation. Great stuff there. Rudy's Flooring and Remodeling. And then Generations Federal Credit Union. Again, they came on a couple of weeks ago. We've been talking, and we still have some stuff planned for the near future. So stand by for that. Generations Federal Credit Union. And then the Nonprofit Council, which came on board last week for the big give. And they raised I believe it's 5.4 million. It might have gone up since the last time I checked. But I know their goal was 5 million, and that's going to help literally hundreds of nonprofits in the area. So that is really super, super cool. Okay, I think our guest is ready. I just want to remind everybody, if you can, just go on right now and hit that share button. It's the bottom right there. So just share the video. It really helps the audience grow, and it gives extra love and support to our sponsors and everything. So I'm seeing Joel Elizondo. Thank you very much. Blessings as well to you. So let me bring in Andrew. Come on in, sir. He's coming over. So my guest today is Andrew Anguiano. And he's got a pretty cool story. For those of you who live on the South Side or have been on the South Side for a while, you know this man.
Sir.
Come on in.
How are you?
Very good. Very good. He brought cups. That's a good sign.
That is a good sign.
Andrew Anguiano is in the car.
How's it going?
We're good. How are you doing, man?
Oh, awesome. It's a Friday.
Yes.
I survived another month.
It is the final Friday of September.
Yeah.
Holy Toledo.
So that's the way my life these days is calculated by, can I survive a week? And then I survive a month. Then I survive a quarter.
Well, you know what? Hold on a second. I told everybody I got these new microphones, and I didn't even put it on you here. Let me do this real quick. Make sure. Hopefully you guys can hear Andrew better now. There you go. This is, like I said, I'm trying to upgrade here. You're the first guest with the new microphone.
Wow.
So hopefully it works out and everything. It's great to see. I was bragging on you a little bit. I was telling everybody that just a short time ago you said you had, and I don't know the stories yet.
Yeah.
That you have a connection to the late great Selena,
Right.
and you have a connection to Snoop Dogg. So we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. But I want to introduce everybody to you who may not know. There are some people. Richard Delgado says, Andrew!
Hey, man.
So Richard knows you, and some people who are watching may know you, but others may not realize your ties to the South Side.
Right.
And you brought, I think I know why you brought the cups, and you brought a bottle opener. And don't get any ideas about cervezas or anything, because this man, among other things, you are a craft soda maker.
That's correct. Yeah.
So let's get to that in a minute, but let's start off with how you got to craft sodas, and you are a Southside product, right?
That's correct. My story would not start without my incredible parents, and my father was a neighborhood activist. And so, I was the youngest of 5. So I was the baby, and they would drag me around to everything. And so when I came around, my parents were already in their activism stage, right?
And this is in what time period?
85 to early 90s.
Mid 80s,
yeah.
Okay, mid to late 80s.
Yeah. And so my dad started off by trying to get us sidewalks and drainage by the mission. So you got to remember, I was like 8 years old being dragged around with my dad at City Hall, at the neighborhood. So I kind of had this sort of upbringing where I always say that now I'm 46, but I'm Southside institutional memory now, right? Just because my parents dragged me to all these things. And so that kind of got my wheels spinning in terms of Southside pride, right? Because my parents were very proud of their neighborhood, and they went above and beyond to kind of make sure that our neighborhood had what other neighborhoods had. And so that's kind of where you get that, lack of a better word, brainwashing.
I know, but in a prideful way.
Yeah, in a prideful way.
No, I get it.
Right. And so then, long short, I get into advertising marketing down the road after college. Went to Southwest Texas State.
Back then it was Southwest. Now it's Texas State. Yes.
And started my career in advertising marketing. Found my way into consumer packaged goods as a contractor.
Okay.
So that's kind of like the nexus of that. So I mean, I skipped a whole bunch of stuff, but
you were around when Alamo Beer Company started, right?
Right. I actually was. I used to work at Blue Star Art Center. Eugene used to give out the beer at the first Fridays, and then later on, I had the marketing company, and then I ran into him, told him I would work for beer. And so that kind of...
That's compensation?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that was kind of and eventually I got paid something. Right. But that's how I ended up in the beer, sort of the craft beer world.
Okay.
And so that kind of spurred a lot of things. I worked with Adams Extract and Spices.
Sure.
And so I was working with Adams Extract and Alamo Beer at the same time, which is kind of if you kind of think about craft soda.
Right. I think of Adams Extract. I think of like vanilla. I use that at home a lot, and I'm sure there are many other spices and things, but vanilla is what I'm used to.
So I was on Adams product development team as a contractor, and then I was working with Alamo Beer as a contractor.
Right.
And so you can kind of see where these things were kind of meeting in my mind.
Right.
And so understanding market, understanding HEB, understanding those things were kind of the things I was working on. And then I had a pivot point where I was hired. Again, I've always been sort of self-employed, right? I'm like, I was part of when they call it the gig economy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'm like employee number 1 of the gig economy.
Really?
I started in 2007.
Okay.
Just kind of picking up gig after gig after gig after gig, right?
Yeah.
And so I was trying to figure out what I was going to do next, and the South Chamber actually hired me. South San Antonio Chamber of Commerce, now South Texas Business Partnership, hired me to help establish their Economic Development Council. And I thought, hey, this is great. My politics, my marketing, right? I kind of understood the dynamics. So when I was working there, I got to be a part really of understanding economic data.
Yes.
Right, in data. And at that point, I said, you know what? I remember sitting there one time and I go, you know what? This city is a city of makers. We make things. And then some of that comes from our deep roots of the missions and all that other stuff, right?
Right.
And you start asking yourself, well, you know, why aren't we making more stuff? Right. That was really the beginning of the process.
Right.
And then I just kind of relied on my experience, and I go, you know, and knowing what I knew about HEB.
Yeah.
Right. And here's sort of I call it like my street science.
Okay.
I'm a street scientist.
Okay.
I observe a lot of stuff. I started asking myself, who's the number one producer of Tex-Mex products? Right? You just think about everything that HEB does is Tex-Mex. A lot of it is. A lot of it is.
Yeah.
Then you start asking yourself, who's manufacturing and selling to HEB Tex-Mex products, right? And then you start the list goes to like, who is Julio's, maybe Siete Food.
But again, this was in 2000.
This is 17.
Okay, like about 6 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. 6 years ago. So then that's when kind of that pivot point where I said, you know, I didn't want to do craft beer because I just thought everybody was doing craft beer.
A lot of craft beers.
Right. And we could have done that, and we could be talking about craft beer today, or like we could have done a craft, spirit or something.
We couldn't drink it in the car.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to drink it in the car. And then I said, you know what would be an easy entry point? And for me it was easy. Now, it's not easy for a lot of people. Right. But it is easy. I said, I'll leverage my relationship with Alamo Beer, Eugene. My co-founder, was the lead brewer over there. And so I kind of tapped into him and Greg Spickler. And so I said, hey, Greg, I want to create this product, and I want it inspired by South Texas. And I said, why South Texas? Well, I want Tex-Mex craft sodas. Okay. Right? I want to create something that we could, sell to our friends who own craft breweries, right, as a non-alcoholic option. B, I wanted to be able to demonstrate sort of my economic development, wacko minds. It's like, to demonstrate that we can do these sorts of things from San Antonio, right, and that there's a market here, right? So, and then 3, have the ability to sell into HEB because they do Tex-Mex products, and that space had companies like our competitors, right, who we will not name, but you know who you are. So you have Northeast, companies from the Northeast and companies from the Northwest, the Midwest, right?
But surely the first thing that comes to my mind are these mega, the Dr. Peppers and the Coca-Colas and the PepsiCos of the world. That did not intimidate you at all? Like, I'm going to try to be in that space with soft drinks? And
they're not, right? Because it's really, this is really the trade up category.
Craft soda.
Right. It's the
as
trade
opposed to more standard stuff that you would probably drink.
When as the beer guys would call it, it'd be like big soda.
Yeah.
Corporate guys, right?
I get it.
And so this is basically a trade up, meaning that you're trading up in quality, you're trading up in flavor, you're trading up, right? So if you're not if you're in the camp of, I used to like soda, I don't drink it no more, but I drink it once in a while.
Right.
I'm going to trade up. I'm going to trade up and drink 4 of these, have it in the fridge. I may not drink all of them today. No. I might keep one for mixing later. Yeah. And that's really the space. So I kind of look at it, and this is kind of for those of you starting products out there. Even though you see the soda section, it's segmented into different spaces. Right. So they know what they're doing. Right. So my competition really sits in like a 4-foot by 8-foot space. Yeah.
We've got some products. Well, I'm going to bring it out here in just a minute, but I'm curious. Mm-hmm. The day you pitched to HEB. Right. Can you take us into that meeting, what you were feeling like, and how difficult for the average person who thinks they have the next great product, how difficult is it to go to get a hold of HEB and then pitch to them? Right.
So for us, we were fortunate to have a distributor who had experience in that space, right? And so it wasn't and I didn't get involved with HEB until after they had made the pitch.
Mm.
And so here's what we did that's important. You have to remember that, again, understanding the space that we're in, right? Knowing that we're a local product, right? So there's all these things. Understanding that when I look at when I talk to HEB, it's always about I call it like the halo effect, right? That where we're craft beer guys making craft soda, so we're where all the craft beer drinkers are at. So that means that my marketing positioning is when you go to a craft brewery in San Antonio, you're going to see the beer, but you're going to see our sodas, and they kind of halos out, right? And people start seeing that, and becomes it pushes people to the store, and so for HEB, I think that those are important check marks.
Okay.
And then the other thing's packaging and the story, right? And so we were very, and you'll see it here.
Go ahead, keep going. I'm gonna grab it. Keep going.
Let me see. I think I put some.
We got some product here. Because I'm always fascinated by the product, great, but the marketing, the story behind it, like how you pull this off. We've got you've got different. This is, I love it. Root. We gotta show this here. Root Bear.
Right.
As in Bear County.
Right.
Again, the marketing wheels. That's what I'm fascinated by. So that's why he brought the bottle opener, and then you have the Texas Cola.
Right. Again, playing towards our love of Texas.
And then this one. This is
Limoncito.
Limoncito.
And Limoncitos are the.
So, is it an insult if I were to say, like, is this like a lemonade or like a Sprite 7-Up? This is obviously root beer, and this is like a Coke Pepsi, or what?
Right. So I'm going to pull this back here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got it. All right. So this is the one. So by the way, we came out with tons of sodas. We could only pick one or two to.
All right.
Pick one or two to demonstrate.
I need a bigger car, clearly, with more cup holders.
So Texacola actually kind of came off of what I used to see at Alamo Beer, where people like the name Alamo, and so I said, "Oh, Texans love Texas. If I can find a cool Texas-y name, make it as Texas-y as possible." Right?
Yeah, I see what you did there. Yeah.
I was like, just make it super Texas-y.
So I should mention the label is Southside Craft Soda. So you see it on all of the sodas. There's Southside Craft Soda. And again, this is the lemon.
So Texacola, the original Texacola, when we, I'm gonna put this over there.
Put it wherever you want.
The original Texacola, and I say original because everything starts off really small batch, right?
Yeah.
So this is citrus. It's a citrus cola. So we use real citrus, real lemon, real lime, cane sugar, honey.
So Richard says his favorite is a Limoncito.
Limoncito's pretty good. Yeah.
Here's to you, Richard. No, that is very good.
So
that is very good.
So it's a citrus cola. So the original one, gosh, I mean, sometimes I wish, Greg, my co-founder, went to CIA New York. He's a Culinary
Institute of America.
Culinary.
I can definitely taste the difference. I mean, the citrusy as opposed to, because I grew up on things like Coke and Pepsi and RC Cola, those kinds of Tab. Back in the day, I know I'm dating myself, but I definitely get that.
So the original ones, I used to go and I was using the first batch. Remember the big freeze in the valley and all the everybody froze and by the way, this is the things you don't think about, like it's like you think oh, I'm using citrus from the valley, great, awesome, and then all of a sudden you're like the valley's frozen, we won't have citrus for another year. You're like. What?
Nobody predicted that.
Yeah, and you can't. And so then to the original ones, I would go down before the freeze,
right?
And I would source from orchards on the valley, and kind of get the juice from that, and then use it in the cola. Now we just kind of have to source it to where it's for us sustainable. Right. Eventually, I hope to get big enough to where we could do that again, but that's kind of the.
So right now, people can get this in HEB, and then
a bunch of breweries, distilleries.
And you have it. Is it exclusively in the bottles?
is in the bottles, but we are going to be making a big change here soon.
Wait a minute. Okay. Is it something I need to know about?
You will here in a second.
Oh, okay. Let's get to the stories here because, again, right before we came on the air, and Gabriel, happy Friday, enjoying the show. Here's to you, Gabriel. You were telling me about Angie's got to try something very interesting. Please do. That you have musical roots among the many things you've done over the years. You were in a band back in the day,
right?
And you have, and I'll let you tell the stories. You have ties to the late great Selena.
That's right.
And Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. So this is all random.
I can't wait to die. So, go ahead.
So Selena's it wasn't directly tied.
Right.
We had a Tejano band, Los Chavalos, and they're out there somewhere. And we recorded one album. You could still buy the album, I think.
You said you were 19 or
1999. I was 19. It was 1999.
Oh, man.
1998. Okay. And we were signed by Soundmax. And Soundmax was owned by the late, great, now I can't mind slip, Bob Griever.
Okay.
And Bob was part of Kata Records, and Kata Records was big down in the Valley, and they had Selena as a recording artist, and so and really legendary in the Tejano world.
Sure.
And so having him as sort of the producer of our album connected us really closely to Selena. Matter of fact, one of my old drummers, Robbie Esparza, he actually plays for A.B. Quintanilla. So I'm
assuming you met Selena then, or
I met her not through there. I actually met her in a separate.
Oh, okay.
I met her separately, but that was before the recording artist thing. So.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, we played in that whole circuit for about 5 years, and then my co-founder Greg, he's a maker, right? And I don't know how much I can say of this.
Meaning maker.
He's a beverage maker.
Oh, right? Okay.
Right. So he also does stuff for other people.
Okay.
And that's about it. Let's put the dot together. Let's put the dot together.
I'll take your word for it.
I don't know how much, but I have.
Let's not get anybody in trouble.
I have picture evidence.
Wait a minute.
I have photo evidence.
Okay.
I have photo evidence of my 1 degree of separation.
So that's the Selena connection, and then you just dropped like, oh, by the way, I had a connection to Snoop Dogg.
I just gave you the whole.
That was the Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just say my co-founder. Yes. My co-founder knows him.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm picking up what you're throwing down. Okay. I get it. Okay. No.
I just know. Yeah, we laughed at that, right? Because yeah, I give Greg a lot of kudos on. He's a real kind of beverage maker.
Yeah.
Like he's a real chef. So he's got that CIA Culinary Institute of New York. He's been a executive chef. He's put together formulations for different types of beverages, and kind of one of those people in San Antonio that you don't know that's here.
Right.
That's doing things for people at a high level.
Yeah.
That they trust him to kind of build his formulation. So he built all of ours.
Craziness. Hi, Mark O'Donnell is on. For those of you just joining us here, this is Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm with Andrew Anguiano. Among many things, the creator of Southside Craft Soda. I'm sipping on, this is the Texacola, right?
Right.
The Texacola.
Let's do the Limoncito.
Yeah. This is the root bear. As you can see there, yes, emphasis on the BEXAR for Bear County. Which again, I love the marketing and everything. So this is the Limoncito.
So I would tell you that on Limoncito.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This one is a lemon. We use real.
I love lemon. Anything lemony tart.
This is real lemon, real lime, honey, cane sugar. It's a.
Yeah.
Great, like as is, or
mixing it with something. Listen.
Exactly.
No, you're right. It's great on its own, but I could see people, both of these, like mixing them with their favorite spirits.
That's exactly.
In a responsible way, of course.
Yeah, because you think about it, right? So actually, there's an old Al Capone cocktail called Southside. Look it up. It's a real thing.
Okay.
And it's a like a tonic water, lemon juice, simple syrup, gin,
Yeah.
and a mint. And so all you're missing is the gin and the mint. We've already got
And the lengthy criminal history. Thank you. Al Capone. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's called because you drank it on the South Side Chicago. And so there you go.
So is this your full-time endeavor, or do you do, I mean, I know you've done a number of things in the past, but what else keeps you busy?
This is pretty much it. My wife has a boutique down in King William where she makes candles and has a candle bar, and
Love just making things.
She's telling you
you were made for each other.
Yeah, and so she's got it right there on South Flores, and so that keeps me. That's the other side of what keeps me busy. We're very entrepreneurial. It is quite and both of us have startups, so it's not like, and both of us in a lot of ways these are career changes for her and I, because she started doing her thing 3 years ago by herself. I started this 4 years ago. And so, I'm a professional advertising public relations guy who now understands supply chain management, logistics, manufacturing, which is, you don't think about it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, what did I do?
Yeah, well, that's the thing that I get back to, because I think, a lot of people made those similar transitions when the pandemic happened, and they went into business for themselves, or they stayed at home to work, or they created a product or something. That's why I always get back to the marketing, because I think a lot of people are sitting on great products or ideas.
Right.
And times have changed. I mean, in the advent of social media and everything, that when it comes to packaging the product and then branding it and marketing it, I just don't know that people, I mean, I'm biased, of course, because I've been working in this arena for a long time. They don't do it as effectively as they could.
Well, and that brings up something that I'm actually working. I call it my pet project,
your pet project,
which is SanAntonioCPG.com.
SanAntonioCPG.com.
That is consumer packaged goods. I just launched it, and there was a nice article that came out, and this is all coincidental. Maybe it's the universe trying to help me push this over the top. That article came out this week on San Antonio Report, where I did bring up the issue because of my economic development background, how we don't have the accelerators, the pipeline to support consumer packaged goods in San Antonio, but we do have a major buyer in your neighborhood, which is HEB, who buys these products. So to me, that disconnect between you have an idea and you want to get it to HEB, what kind of support system is in place to get you there? And it's non-existent, which I understood going into it, right? I mean, I relied on my experience, the people that I knew in the industry. And then what you end up finding, you find other people like a good friend of mine, Chris Cook, who owns Special Leaf Tea.
I know Chef Chris.
And Daniel Meza, Pudo Nitro, or Andrew Lay over at Ola, or Oscar Perez, Tio Pelon, right? Yeah. So we're all kind of in what I would call the second stage of our, and then you get to that second stage and you go like, how do we fund this? Yeah. How do you, this is really expensive. HEB has this on their shelf. How do we sustain that? Right.
Or you get a big order or something.
Right. And so the infrastructure for that stage of our businesses is really non-existent, even like on the manufacturing side of things, right? So I just kind of want to bring that out. We're organizing kind of, I would call it like I wouldn't call it, I mean, I guess it is a trade group, I imagine what you would call it. Just a group of people that are interested in this space. And so we have about 40 people that registered on our website. And just to, again, when I went to, you go to Austin, they've got infrastructure for this stuff. Yeah. Right. They've got ski.
I believe it.
You go to Dallas, Fort Worth, they have DFW CPG. And there's a whole vibrant group of people that are making stuff. And when I go visit them, they're all trying to get into HEB.
Sure.
They're all trying to come this way.
No, well, I get back to how many people who may watch this and are sitting on a great product or have a great business concept right now, and you can spend as much money on it, but if you don't, again, I'm biased, but if you don't market it or or brand it right and package it right, when it comes time to sit in the room with HEB or whoever
Right.
it is, Walmart, Target, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to fall flat.
Yeah, and you got to think about the future of what's going to happen next. Like always, the question is, where do you think you could take this? And you're like, I just brought it. Like I just got it. Like I didn't even think beyond that, right? And so, but that's the other thing too. So I've been an entrepreneur in San Antonio for a long time, and things are different. I think when you might be able to verify this.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the Latino community, being a business owner was really a lot about like, this is mine,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think that in order to create sort of a bigger company, you got bigger, better companies. You can't be afraid to share and get help and to grow things. I think that culturally, we're not programmed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how else to say that. But that's how
Right.
just observing that.
Yeah.
But things are changing, right? And there's ways to protect your idea, right? So you get a simple non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah,
you find that online. I mean, the internet really has a lot of internet. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it. It can be terrible sometimes, but it can also be very helpful.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's usually the fear. Oh, if I say my idea, somebody's gonna steal it.
Yes.
It's like, well, but if you never say it, then
nobody will be able to do anything with it.
Right.
It's just fascinating. There's a free lesson right there, a mini lesson on branding and marketing and everything.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts here as we get ready? I've enjoyed both of them. You're going to crack the root beer open?
Root beer.
So Andrew Anguiano, again, the man who put all this together and was telling us stories about his time with the Tejano band and working at Adam's Extract and doing all kinds of root beer.
Root beer.
Root.
We kind of.
What's your? Do you have a favorite? If I were to put you on the spot, that's probably not fair. I know.
Yeah, well, I have.
I can smell that already.
So there is a
root beer. That's great. That's really good.
It's faint and you can find it. There's a hint of mesquite bean, and so this is something that Greg innovated for us.
Mesquite.
Right?
Okay.
Mesquite bean, and people are always saying, I don't taste the smokiness. It's not. So mesquite bean is about 70-80% sucrose.
Okay.
And so that's kind of why you'll hear people, I was in the farm. They used to pull the bean and we used to suck on the mesquite bean. And I've tried that and I don't understand that just yet, maybe. And so everything we do, right? Limoncito was inspired by an agua fresca by the house. Texacola, Valley Citrus, right? I mean, so you're starting to see that South Texas,
right? The
South Texas root beer. I said, well, how do we make it South Texas-y? Greg's like, we add mesquite bean.
That's crazy.
And he goes, well, then there you go. That's it.
Done.
So and then, so we add mesquite bean. Matter of fact, the earlier versions, it's kind of, I always want to say that, I don't know if there's a.
Yeah, let's just put it back here. Yeah, let's put it back here. Go ahead. The early versions.
The earlier versions, I always think like, you hear the story of like Apple, right? Apple will put out first versions, let the customers, complain about it, and then they'll redo another version.
Work all the bugs out.
And then the second version's better than the first version. That's what we do. So if you get our first version, if you had our first version of root beer, you would have tasted the mesquite bean. It would have been more prevalent.
Yeah.
But your mind wouldn't know where to place it.
Okay.
And that to us became a problem, right? It was like, because you didn't know whether you liked the flavor or not, and they would say, and you would say things like, or customers would say things like, I'm tasting, and they couldn't explain it, which is, it's like, oh, you're tasting mesquite bean, and it was just like one of those.
They're like, what?
It was one of those flavors that you didn't know whether you liked it or not.
Right. So or that it belonged in a root beer.
Right. So then we have it in there. We just kind of scaled it back, and believe it or not, I know where the mesquite. It's funny. You would think that there'd be mesquite bean suppliers in Texas. This mesquite bean is actually sourced from Argentina, and I know the guy. Matter of fact, him and I were talking.
Right.
We're talking about how his process, and so we get it from Argentina, we were like, well, if there was a way to farm it here, it's just a very difficult thing to farm. But I do have one last surprise.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, go ahead.
We're moving to cans.
What?
And why? So, nobody's ever seen this new flavor. We've already developed it.
This is an exclusive?
This is an exclusive.
Okay.
This is so here's the limoncito you had.
What?
And it's
an empty can, obviously. It's a prop can, but this is the can right here.
That's the can. It's gonna be
that's a sharp can right there.
We're coming out with that, so it's gonna be great to finally take it down to the Riverwalk.
Yeah.
or
float the river with it.
The
Guadalupe River.
Yeah, that was the thing we discovered was that, we live in a hot climate and bottles may not be the best thing to...
Glass bottles, yeah.
They're nice. I appreciate the fact that they're crafty, but, you can't take them to a lot of places. And then this is our new flavor that we're coming out with. This is Hola Orange.
Hola Orange.
And
there it is.
And
look at that.
We've been working on that flavor for a while. The hope is that we're going to have this transition where we can, by the end of the year, get into these cans.
I love it.
And so, but like everything else, if you're a venture capital firm.
Yes, and you'd like to support my show and his craft sodas, let's talk.
Let's talk.
But you see how his mind thinks? Constantly...
Yeah, because that's what we're doing. We're trying to raise the cash, and that's another part of the missing link in San Antonio, right?
Yeah.
Is like,
yeah.
When in your life did you ever think that you could start a business with venture capital?
Right.
No, sure. What? What is that? And so you begin to learn that, and so I think there's a lot more opportunity now than ever before for that idea that you have out there for that product. And then once you get big and famous, then you sponsor the show.
Exactly. That's exactly how it works. But it is nice that you're willing to share some of your knowledge and everything with people out there because, in a sense, you're helping each other out and everything. This has been a fantastic adventure. You're the first guest who's supplied me with beverages during the show. And so I wish you all the best. If people want to find out more about the Southside Craft Sodas, there's an HEB around every corner.
Right.
And I certainly hope we'll continue to stay in touch. And you ever need me to taste test anything for you?
Oh, yeah. We got to figure that out. I want to taste test too.
Okay. Hey, and this has been a lot of fun, Andrew.
Hey,
Appreciate it. Congratulations. All the best to you. Andrew Anguiano, Southside Craft Soda, and this has been another episode of Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm. Until next time, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you soon. Very nice.